Lost in the void. Commander Jenna Hayes stared through the viewport of the starship Odyssey, watching the unfamiliar stars streak past in brilliant ribbons of light. The emergency distress signal that had drawn her attention pulsed steadily on her display, its alien origin both intriguing and concerning. After 15 years of deep space exploration, she thought she'd encountered every known species in this sector of the galaxy. This signal was different. "Commander, we're approaching the source," Lieutenant Owen Parker announced from his station, his fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "But there's something odd about the readings." Jenna leaned forward, her weathered features reflecting in the glossy surface of her command console. "Define odd, Lieutenant." "The signal's coming from what appears to be a derelict vessel, but its construction. I've never seen anything like it. The hull seems to be composed of living crystal." The Odyssey dropped out of faster-than-light travel, and Jenna's breath caught in her throat. Before them floated a ship that defied conventional design. Its crystalline surface shimmered with an inner light, organic curves blending seamlessly with geometric precision. But what drew her attention were the clear signs of damage, massive fractures running along its hull like lightning frozen in glass. "Life signs?" Jenna asked, already rising from her chair. "One, very faint. Definitely not human." Owen's voice carried a mix of excitement and apprehension. Jenna made her decision. "Prep the rescue shuttle. I'm leading this one myself." "Commander," Owen protested, "protocol states." "Protocol wasn't written for first contact situations, Lieutenant." She smiled slightly. "Sometimes humanity has to trust its instincts." The rescue shuttle approached the alien vessel carefully, maneuvering through a field of crystalline debris. As they drew closer, Jenna could see that the damage was worse than initially apparent. Whatever had attacked this ship had done so with devastating precision. Inside the alien vessel, Jenna led her small team through corridors that seemed to pulse with fading light. Their boots clicked against surfaces that looked like they should be fragile but held firm under their weight. The air was breathable, though tinged with an odd sweetness that their filters couldn't quite identify. They found the survivor in what appeared to be the ship's control center. The alien lay curled against a crystalline console, its body covered in what looked like fine iridescent scales. As Jenna approached, its eyes opened, 3 of them, arranged in a triangle pattern, revealing pupils that swirled like liquid mercury. "I am Krelthon," the alien managed to communicate through a combination of clicks and whistles that their universal translator struggled to interpret. "You should not have come." Jenna knelt beside the injured being. "I'm Commander Hayes of the Earth vessel Odyssey. We're here to help." The alien scales rippled with what might have been amusement or despair. "Help may doom your kind. They follow. They always follow." "Who follows?" Jenna asked, gesturing for her medical officer to begin treatment. "The Shadowers. They seek the knowledge. The key." Krelthon's breathing became labored. "Must protect. The coordinates, in my neural matrix. Take them. But promise you will not use them until." The alien's voice faded as unconsciousness took hold. The medical officer looked up at Jenna, his expression grave. "We need to get them to our medical bay immediately. Their cellular structure is unlike anything I've seen, but they're definitely in critical condition." As they rushed Krelthon back to the Odyssey, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that this rescue mission was about to become something far more significant. The mention of these Shadowers and the mysterious coordinates hidden within the alien's neural matrix suggested that the universe was about to become a much more dangerous place. What she didn't know then was that this encounter would not only change her life but would reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. As the Odyssey's medical team fought to save Krelthon's life, somewhere in the darkness of space, ancient forces were stirring, their attention now fixed upon the human vessel that had dared to interfere with their plans. The real question wasn't whether humanity was ready for what was coming, it was whether what was coming was ready for humanity's determination to protect those in need, regardless of the cost. The Quantum Bridge. The Odyssey's medical bay hummed with unfamiliar energy as Dr. Ravi Patel studied the readings from Krelthon's neural scan. After 3 days of non-stop work, the brilliant quantum physicist had been called in from Earth's Advanced Research Division to help decrypt the alien's neural matrix. Dark circles under his eyes betrayed his exhaustion, but excitement radiated from his lean frame. "Commander Hayes," he called out, not looking up from his holographic display. "I think I've found something extraordinary." Jenna approached, noting how the alien's crystalline scales seemed to shimmer in response to Ravi's scanning equipment. "Tell me you've made progress, Doctor." "Progress?" Ravi laughed softly, pushing his wire-rimmed glasses up his nose. "What we're looking at here goes beyond anything humanity has ever encountered. The coordinates in Krelthon's neural matrix aren't just locations in space, they're quantum signatures. In English, Dr. Patel. Think of it like this," Ravi said, pulling up a three-dimensional model of intertwining energy patterns. "Normal space travel is like walking on a flat surface. What Krelthon's people discovered is more like folding space itself. They found bridges that exist in the quantum fabric of reality." A weak voice interrupted them. "Bridges that should remain closed." Krelthon's 3 eyes focused on them with surprising clarity. Jenna moved closer to their patient. "You're awake. How are you feeling?" "Your medical technologies are primitive, but effective," Krelthon responded, their scales shifting to a deeper blue. "But we have little time. The Shadowers will have detected your ship's quantum scanning." Dr. Patel stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overwhelming his usual reserve. "The quantum signatures in your neural matrix, they're coordinates to these bridges?" "Not coordinates. Keys." Krelthon's voice carried a weight that made both humans pause. "My people, the Lumini, we were not the first to discover the quantum bridges. We were merely the first to understand why they should remain sealed." The aliens' monitors began beeping more rapidly as they attempted to sit up. "The Ancient Ones, those you would call gods, they built the bridges to connect realities. But they discovered something in the spaces between, something that hungers." Lieutenant Owen Parker's voice suddenly crackled over the intercom. "Commander, we're detecting multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Their energy signatures, they're massive." Jenna's training kicked in immediately. "Battle stations. Dr. Patel, stay with our guest. I need to be on the bridge." The scene that greeted Jenna on the bridge froze her blood. 3 ships, each easily twice the size of the Odyssey, hung in space like dark tears in reality. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, making them look like 3-dimensional shadows. "The Shadowers," Krelthon's voice whispered through the medical bay's comm link. "They are the servants of what dwells between realities. They seek the keys to open all the bridges at once." "Why?" Dr. Patel asked, his voice barely a whisper. "To let their masters feed on all realities at once. They believe this will grant them power. They are wrong. It will only grant oblivion." The Shadower ships made no attempt to communicate. Instead, dark energy began to pool around their vessels, distorting the very space around them. "Evasive maneuvers," Jenna ordered, but she knew the Odyssey, despite being one of Earth's most advanced ships, was outmatched. That's when Dr. Patel's voice cut through the tension. "Commander. The quantum signatures, they're not just keys to the bridges. Based on these readings, they could be used to disrupt the Shadowers' technology. How long do you need? 10 minutes? Maybe less if Krelthon can." A blast of dark energy struck the Odyssey, causing the ship to shudder violently. Warning lights flashed across every console as systems began to fail. "You don't have 10 minutes, Krelthon said, their voice growing stronger with determination. But together, we might have enough time. Your quantum physicist's mind united with my knowledge. Yes, it could work. Jenna gripped her command chair as another blast rocked the ship. Whatever you're going to do it fast. We can't take much more of this. In the medical bay, Dr. Patel worked frantically alongside Krelthon, their different technologies merging in ways that defied conventional physics. As the Shadowers pressed their attack, humanity's ingenuity and the Lumini's ancient wisdom raced against time to find a way to push back the darkness that threatened to consume them all. The fate of not just the Odyssey, but potentially all realities, hung in the balance. And in these crucial moments, the true test of humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and cooperate with beings beyond their understanding would determine whether the quantum bridges would become humanity's greatest discovery or the instrument of its destruction. Echoes of betrayal. Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez moved silently through the lower decks of the Odyssey, his security team fanned out behind him. The ship's emergency lighting cast long shadows as systems continued to fail under the Shadowers' assault. Years of military training had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, every nerve in his body screamed that something was wrong, and not just with the alien ships attacking them. Security team, report in, he whispered into his comm unit. Static answered him. His jaw tightened. First the quantum disruptions from Dr. Patel's experimental defense, now communications. Perfect. The deck beneath his feet trembled as another blast struck the ship. But Marcus had served on enough vessels to know the difference between weapon impacts and internal explosions. That last shudder had come from inside. Commander Hayes, he tried one last time on his comm nothing. He'd have to handle this himself. In the medical bay, Dr. Patel and Krelthon worked frantically to adapt the quantum signatures into a defensive measure. Neither noticed the subtle changes in the ship's internal sensor readings, changes that Marcus was now racing to investigate. The resonance pattern is almost stable, Ravi announced, his fingers flying across his adapted interface. Krelthon, if we can just amplify the medical bay doors slid open. Marcus burst through, weapon raised. Everyone down, now. His warning came just as a shadow seemed to detach itself from the corner of the room, taking human form. The figure raised what looked like a twisted version of standard Earth weaponry. Marcus fired first, his shot passing straight through the shadowy form. But the distraction gave Krelthon time to emit a burst of crystalline energy from their scales, illuminating the room in harsh, revealing light. The shadow solidified, becoming Lieutenant Owen Parker. Owen? Ravi gasped, stepping back from his console. But you're supposed to be on the bridge. The Owen Parker you knew never existed, the thing wearing Owen's face said, its voice carrying harmonic undertones that made the air itself vibrate. We have walked among humans for decades, preparing. Marcus kept his weapon trained on the imposter. The communications blackout, the convenient sensor failures. You've been sabotaging us from the inside. We serve a greater purpose than your limited minds can comprehend, not Owen said. The bridges must be opened. Reality itself hungers for change. Krelthon's scales flashed with anger. Your masters don't want change, they want consumption. The death of all things. The false Owen smiled, the expression unnaturally wide. Death? No. Transcendence. Humanity's own myths speak of apocalypse as transformation. We offer that transformation. By turning humans into puppets like you? Marcus took a careful step forward. Hard pass. The imposter's form began to shift, darkness seeping from its edges. You assume you have a choice. The Shadowers have guided human development for centuries. Your quantum physics, your understanding of dark energy, all breadcrumbs we left to lead you here. You're lying, Ravi said, but doubt crept into his voice. Am I? The creature laughed. How else could humanity have advanced so quickly? From primitive rockets to quantum theory in less than a century? We saw your potential as tools, as vessels. Krelthon's voice cut through the growing darkness. They lie. My people watched humanity's rise. Your achievements are your own. The Shadowers didn't guide you, they fear you. The revelation hit Marcus like a physical blow. That's why you infiltrated us. Not to guide us, but to control us. To keep us from becoming a threat. The creature's form was almost entirely shadow now, its voice coming from everywhere and nowhere. Clever human. Yes, your species' adaptability, your relentless drive to understand and overcome, these qualities make you dangerous. Unpredictable. When the bridges open, humanity would be among the few races with the potential to resist transcendence. Not among the few, Krelthon said. The only ones. Why do you think my people sought out Earth? We didn't come to protect humanity. We came to align ourselves with our greatest hope. Above them, the ship shuddered again. Through the medical bay's viewport, they could see dark energy tendrils beginning to wrap around the Odyssey. Time was running out. Marcus made a split-second decision. Doctor, how close are you to implementing that quantum defense? We need maybe 2 minutes to stabilize the resonance pattern, but... You'll have it. Marcus turned to face the shadow creature, an idea forming. You've been among humans so long, studied us so carefully. But you missed something fundamental about us. The shadow writhed. And what is that? We're at our most dangerous when we're cornered. Without warning, Marcus fired his weapon at the medical bay's power conduits. Sparks exploded across the room as emergency systems kicked in. The shadow creature recoiled from the sudden burst of pure energy, its form destabilizing. Krelthon immediately understood Marcus's strategy and released another pulse of crystalline light. Now, Doctor! Marcus shouted. In the chaos that followed, as shadow fought light and quantum energies clashed with dark matter, the fate of the Odyssey, and perhaps humanity itself, would be decided not by ancient powers or cosmic forces, but by the quick thinking and desperate courage of those who refused to surrender to the darkness. Breaking dawn. The quantum pulse that erupted from the Odyssey's medical bay rippled through space like a stone cast into a cosmic pond. As the wave of energy expanded outward, the shadowy tendrils gripping the ship began to dissipate. But the victory was short-lived. The 3 Shadower vessels were already repositioning for another attack. Through the chaos, a new signal caught Commander Hayes's attention. A ship had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel, its design unlike anything in Earth's database. Its hull gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. Unknown vessel, identify yourself, Jenna broadcast, hoping their communications were back online. The response came in a clear, melodic voice. I am Vilara, Guardian Captain of the Starweaver. We detected the quantum surge. It seems we arrived just in time. Before anyone could respond, the Starweaver moved with impossible grace, positioning itself between the Odyssey and the Shadower vessels. Energy began building along its hull, forming intricate patterns that pulsed with power. In the medical bay, Krelthon's scales flickered with recognition. The Nomad fleet. They still exist. Friends of yours? Marcus asked, keeping his weapon trained on the spot where the shadow creature had disappeared. More than friends. The Nomads were our allies before the Shadowers destroyed our homeworld. Vilara's people have spent centuries developing technology to fight them. Dr. Patel's eyes widened as he studied the readings from the Starweaver. The energy patterns, they're similar to your quantum signatures, but more refined, more focused. The ship shuddered as the Starweaver engaged the enemy, its weapons releasing bursts of concentrated quantum energy that tore through the Shadowers' dark matter shields like paper. The larger vessels retreated, their shadowy forms seeming to fold in on themselves as they fled. Commander, Vilara's voice came through again. Your ship is damaged. Allow us to dock and render assistance. Jenna looked to Marcus, who had just arrived on the bridge with Krelthon and Dr. Patel. The security chief gave a slight nod. The immediate threat from within seemed to have passed. When Vilara stepped aboard the Odyssey, even the battle-hardened crew couldn't help but stare. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her body covered in what appeared to be living metal armor that flowed with her movements. Her face was humanoid but with distinctly alien features, high, sweeping cheekbones, eyes that seemed to hold galaxies, and skin that shimmered with an inner light. "The quantum signature you generated," she said, addressing both Krelthon and Dr. Patel. "It was crude but effective. With refinement, it could be a powerful weapon against the Shadowers." "We need more than weapons," Jenna interjected. "We need answers. What do these quantum bridges actually connect to? What are the Shadowers really after?" Vilara's expression grew grave. "The bridges are relics of a civilization that existed before time as we know it. They believed they could harness the energy of creation itself, but instead, they discovered something that existed in the void between realities. The thing the Shadowers serve," Marcus concluded. "Yes. A consciousness so vast and alien that merely perceiving it drives most beings mad. The Shadowers are those who embrace that madness, believing it would give them power over all existence." Dr. Patel had been quiet, his brilliant mind processing the implications. "But the quantum signatures, they're not just weapons, are they? They're keys that could seal the bridges permanently." Vilara nodded. "That was the Lumini's great discovery. But sealing one bridge is not enough. They must all be closed simultaneously, or the entity will simply use another to spread its influence. Then we need to find all the bridges," Jenna said with determination. "And we need to gather allies. Earth needs to know what's coming." "Earth may already be compromised," Marcus warned. "If Owen wasn't the only infiltrator." "Then we start small," Vilara suggested. "The Nomad fleet has hidden outposts throughout the galaxy. We can use them as bases while we gather forces and develop our strategy." Krelthon stepped forward. "My neural matrix contains the locations of all known bridges. Combined with Vilara's quantum technology and human ingenuity, we might stand a chance." "A small chance," Vilara cautioned. Jenna smiled grimly. "Sometimes a small chance is all humanity needs. Dr. Patel, can you work with Vilara's people to refine the quantum defense?" Ravi's eyes lit up at the prospect. "The integration of our different approaches to quantum mechanics could lead to breakthroughs we never imagined." "Then we have hope," Vilara said. "But we must move quickly. The Shadowers will return in greater numbers, and next time, they won't underestimate us." As plans were made and the Odyssey's crew prepared to embark on their new mission, Marcus found himself studying their unlikely alliance: humans, Lumini, and nomads, each bringing their own strengths to the fight. The shadow creature had been right about one thing: humanity's adaptability and determination made them dangerous. But not as tools for cosmic horrors, as defenders of all reality. The real war was just beginning, and its outcome would depend not just on advanced technology or ancient knowledge, but on the bonds forged between different species united against a common enemy. As the Odyssey and the Starweaver set course for the nearest Nomad outpost, their crews knew they were carrying something more powerful than any weapon, the first seeds of a resistance that would shake the very foundations of existence. The final horizon. 3 months after the first encounter with the Shadowers, the resistance had grown beyond anything Jenna Hayes could have imagined. The Nomad outpost, hidden within an asteroid field at the edge of known space, now hosted ships from a dozen different species. Each had their own stories of encounters with the Shadowers, their own reasons to fight. Dr. Patel stood at the central command console, surrounded by holographic displays showing the locations of all known quantum bridges. Working alongside Vilara's scientists, he had helped develop a network of quantum resonators that could target every bridge simultaneously. The calculations are finally complete, he announced to the assembled War Council. We can generate a quantum cascade that will seal all the bridges permanently. But. There's always a but, Marcus muttered from his position by the door. Ravi adjusted his glasses nervously. The energy required is massive. We'll need to place resonators at each bridge location and activate them in perfect synchronization. If even one fails, the entity will use that bridge to enter our reality fully. Krelthon finished, their scales a deep, worried purple. Violara's living metal armor shifted as she studied the tactical display. The Shadowers will defend the bridges. They'll expect this strategy. Then we give them something unexpected, Jenna said, stepping forward. We give them me. The room fell silent. Marcus was the first to understand. The infiltrator. The one that posed as Owen. It got into your head, didn't it? Jenna nodded grimly. Not completely, but enough. I can feel it sometimes, whispers, impressions. I think I can use that connection. Make them see what I want them to see. It's too dangerous, Violara protested. The psychic feedback alone could kill you. We're beyond playing it safe, Jenna replied. The Odyssey will lead a frontal assault on their main fleet. While they're focused on us, smaller teams can move the resonators into position. Dr. Patel raised his hand tentatively. There's another problem. Someone will need to remain at each bridge location to activate the resonators manually. The quantum interference makes remote activation impossible. Suicide missions, Marcus said flatly. No, Krelthon interrupted, their scales suddenly brightening. Not suicide. The resonators, could they be modified to create localized quantum bubbles? Ravi's eyes widened. To protect the activation teams from the cascade? Theoretically, yes, but we'd need a pure sample of crystalline quantum matrix, Violara finished. Like the kind found in Lumini scales. Krelthon stepped into the center of the room. Then it is decided. My people will volunteer to activate the resonators. We will give our scales, our very essence, to protect those who would save all realities. The plan came together quickly after that. The resistance fleet would split into teams, each led by a Lumini volunteer carrying a resonator enhanced with their own crystalline essence. The Odyssey, supported by Violara's Starweaver, would engage the main Shadower fleet. As the final preparations were made, Marcus found Commander Hayes in the Odyssey's observation deck, staring out at the assembled fleet. You know, this is probably a one-way trip, he said quietly. Jenna smiled faintly. Probably. But humanity's never let terrible odds stop us before. No, we haven't. He hesitated. The crew's with you. All the way. The battle began at the edge of known space. The Odyssey led the charge, its hull reinforced with Nomad technology, its weapons enhanced with quantum resonators. Jenna stood on her bridge, feeling the alien whispers in her mind grow stronger as they approached the Shadower fleet. Dar. Patel's voice crackled over the comm from his position on the Starweaver. Strike teams are away. Beginning resonator placement. The space around them erupted into chaos. Dark energy weapons clashed with quantum-enhanced shields. The Shadowers, as expected, focused their attention on the Odyssey, drawn by the familiar psychic signature they sensed in its commander. Jenna gripped her chair as the whispers became screams. She pushed back, projecting images of the resistance fleet retreating, regrouping, anything but the truth of the small ships slipping through the chaos toward the quantum bridges. Teams 1 through 5 report resonators in position, Marcus called out, monitoring the encrypted channels. Violara's Starweaver danced through the battle, its living metal hull absorbing and redirecting dark energy attacks. 6 through 10 confirmed. Awaiting final teams. The Odyssey shuddered under a direct hit. Warning lights flashed across every console. Hull breach on decks 3 through 5, someone shouted. Teams 11 and 12 confirm placement, Marcus reported. Just waiting on the last one. Jenna forced herself to focus through the pain in her head. The Shadowers were beginning to realize they'd been deceived. Their attacks grew more frantic, more desperate. Final resonator in position. The call came from Krelthon themselves. All teams, prepare for activation, Jenna commanded, her voice strained. On my mark. A massive shadow ship emerged from the void, larger than any they'd seen before. Its presence made reality itself bend and warp. It ends now, a voice boomed through every mind on every ship. The bridges will open. All will be consumed. You're right about one thing, Jenna whispered, blood trickling from her nose. It ends now. All teams, activate. 13 quantum resonators activated simultaneously across space. The cascade effect was beautiful and terrible to behold. Reality itself seemed to crystallize around each bridge location, sealing them permanently. The shadow ships began to dissolve, their connection to their dark master severed. The massive vessel tried to flee, but the quantum cascade had created a web from which there was no escape. As the light faded and the quantum energy dissipated, silence fell across the battlefield. The protected activation teams emerged from their crystalline bubbles to find the Shadowers gone, the bridges sealed, and the whispers of the void finally, permanently silenced. The Odyssey, badly damaged but still intact, floated amid the debris of battle. On its bridge, Commander Hayes stood on shaky legs, supported by Marcus. Did we? She began. We did it, he confirmed. All bridges sealed. All teams safe. The Shadowers are gone. Vilara's voice came through clear on the comm, the quantum readings are stable. The seals will hold. Dr. Patel added his own excited confirmation. The bridges are not just sealed, they're transformed. The resonators created permanent quantum barriers. Nothing from the void will ever use them again. As the Resistance fleet regrouped and began the work of recovery, Jenna looked out at the stars, unchanged, yet somehow brighter than before. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger, not just through force or technology, but through cooperation, determination, and the unwavering belief that light would always triumph over darkness. The quantum bridges were now monuments to what could be achieved when different species worked together, their very existence a reminder that in the face of cosmic horror, it was not advanced technology or ancient knowledge that had saved them, but the simple, unshakable courage to stand and fight against the dark. As the Odyssey set course for Earth, carrying news of their victory and the promise of new alliances, Jenna knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. Humanity had proven itself ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as protectors, innovators, and friends to all who would stand against the darkness.